What is up, guys? Sierra here. I'm back with another live stream, and I'm here to chat with, just chat. And I'm just really tired of this. She even also, today I will first off address this person who is known as Frank. And this is also to Joshua about this, because basically he's just because I have to do this because this person who is presumably Frank even accused me of and lying about me. Like, he claims that that my friend Santiago was snitching him when he's not. And he knows well that this person might be Frank. And even claims that he even claims that I was friends with Miranda, who is Auntie Paul Brown, when I'm not. When I don't think Paul Brown account was actually Miranda. Not to mention, he even made up a lie about me, claiming that I was using my Discord account to online date people. Seriously, Frank? Stop lying about me. I didn't make my Discord account to online date people. I was only doing this as a way of chatting with my friends. So, seriously, stop fucking lying. Not to mention, Camilla even says, ugh, I should stop making posts and videos about me. Seriously, stop being a whiny bitch over this, Camilla. Seriously, people have the right to talk on you whatever the fuck they want because of your actions. And I don't think people will like you for what you have done. Not to mention, and also, I already mute you two if you're gonna attack me or any of my friends. Like, seriously, these guys are making up one of them are just making up dumb lies about me. Even I said this, saying, I'm not on Discord to online date. It's only for me chatting with my friends, and I don't support Miranda. Even though I didn't say to him, it's unclear on if Auntie Paul Brown was an account made by Miranda. I don't think he has any damn proof on this. And he claims that I was snitching on Camilla when I am not. Besides, I have the right to expose her, whatever the heck, because she literally bashed someone's opinion on Peg Plus Cat. Honestly. And he says, oh, I would be dangerous if I had a brain. Seriously, I'm not fucking dangerous. And I never did such things. So seriously, you need to stop. Because I am tired of this. This is just misinformation. He even did that himself. This also makes him a fucking hypocrite. Because he claims that I was online dating, but yeah, he did when he was dating Camilla. What a fucking hypocrite. And we all know this person was Frank because of the same content in this channel. And he's literally just claims that all of us were lying. Also, I just want to credit to Joshua for this because literally he's hiding behind a ton of accounts, and I know this was him because of the same content, and especially some of them with Camilla. But yeah. Even Syncor or Alexis even revealed some video about him. Oh, and also at the time I may already end with this, he'll probably share this and thinks that I'm lying. And of course, we'll say that I'm lying, even though we all know who's in the right. Yeah, I heard. I know, Josen. He's literally accusing me. Like, he claims that I was online dating just like how he did and thinks that I'm dangerous when in reality I am not. Basically, he's just literally accusing me of shit that I never do. And after I made my Discord account, he thinks that I was gonna online date when I never do online dating. And now Camilla, he even claims that I was snitching Camilla too. After I made after on my second channel, I discovered that I seen that she bashed someone's opinion on Peg Plus Cat and calling her out for that. I know, right? I mean, here's Alexis' side of the story.
Han made me cut my... Hey guys! If you have watched Joshua's video on his YouTube channel about him trying to expose Frank behind the account, well, he did much worse. Because he made me suicidal, Han made me cut myself a couple of days ago because he exposed to me for something I did in the past.
2 months ago.
He also does many things to small kids that he doesn't tell you as well. So be aware of what he actually does on the internet, because it's not good. Yes, I'm talking to you, Eliza, the PPG fan. Alright, so since Joshua is lazy today, I'm going to make a video on my own about Bushwhacker myself. Starting off, note this video doesn't promote any harassment or cyberbullying, and
Even the person by the name of G Max Rosie even revealed that he also groomed her. And she was around 16 years old. Or, not really, but 14 years old at the time. Yeah, and Alexis even harmed, like she's even said in that video. She even almost off herself because of him.
This is fair use. Number 1. He made me suicidal because he announced my past without my consent. Does that seem like he's getting into a minor's past? The guy is 36 years old.
Even he claims that I'm... Even look at that on Frank. He even thinks that I'm... He He even claims that I'm making up misinformation and being a hypocrite when I'm not. Seriously, stop freaking lying, Frank. You know I never done such things. And besides, I have the right to defend myself. Well, Ender, Frank was attacking me because and makes up a lie that I was making my Discord account and he claims I was making my Discord to online date people when I don't. And even claims that I'm dangerous when I'm not either. He even claims that I was snitching Camilla when I don't either. When after I already caught her bashing someone's opinion on a show that she liked. Like, seriously. And even worse, Camilla even was involved in this bullshit. I use Discord. What's his beef with Discord? Because he thinks that because he thinks that he doesn't give a damn on my... I don't know who that user is. I wonder if he or she was friends with Camilla. Yes, he is friends with Camilla. God. He's just literally accusing me of bullshit. Like, he thinks that in this one, he thinks that I'm making up misinformation and it being a hypocrite when, yet again, I fucking don't. He's the one that's the true hypocrite and a true liar there. Especially on videos about him. He's always friends with stupid Camilla. Yeah, he is friends with that a-hole. And whatever I said to him, I said this to him, he literally thinks that I'm lying. And I'm probably down at the time I'm ending this stream chatting with you guys. He will not listen and will think that I'm lying. And at the time, he will think that I'm always lying. No, I never did, but my brother's seen gameplay footage on it, and he said it's not good. Anyways, let's see on what Nightmare says.
Number D thinks I'm a PDF, and I have yellow stains on my walls when I don't. And I don't know what he's talking about. But he's basically trying to potentially cyberbully me and trying to get away with it. And talk to his former friends, making fun of me. 3. Do the Joshua's exposed
Yes,
video?
He is a white knight.
I am now determined that he is behind the PDF file account, and honestly, he should get off the internet. If he keeps on harassing minors like me. Number 4. He goes after Camilla almost every time. Keep in mind, I still hate Camilla because of various reasons. It's almost like his niche, which is similar to his Bushwhacker account like before. Number 5, he's the main reason why predators and pedophiles get increased this year, and having the heinous act of ignoring everything about his allegations, which is just so disgusting and stupid. Thank you guys so much for watching this video.
But yeah. That's her side of the story. Joshua, Austin, along others, like Normal Professional, even made some sides of the story about him. If she's doing this again, I swear to God, I don't want involved with drama. Me neither, because if I was involved in drama, then it might get worse than it gets. Yeah, he's trying to drag me into this bullshit drama. Like, literally, he's just accusing me of bullshit. Just to cause this drama. He even tries to drag a few of my friends like Santiago into this drama as well. Yeah, he did the same thing to me too. Just like how Dima has done. He even claims, oh, I'm not even English or Canadian. Actually, I speak English. You know that, right? Sorry about that, guys, with this, because my Wi-Fi is having issues. But anyways, seriously, dude. How was I dangerous? And how was that considered online dating joining Discord? Some people, I know for a fact that I never do that. Besides, it's considered illegal. And second of all, was there any damn proof that Dima is a child? I know it's glitching. So I apologize about that, guys. Anyways, but yeah. And there's also Joshua's side of the story. And that was when when he was under like some other aliases like PDF Gaming, Jazz Style, and all of that. But here's his side of the situation.
I got some bad news. It turns out Bushwicker's back.
Right, guys, what's up? And guys, we have absolute proof. Frank is behind the PDF file account with actual dedication proof and old captures since May 2024. We are ready to release it to the public. Disclaimer. The evidence, images, videos, and other materials presented in this video are protected under copyright law. Their use is intended solely for the purposes of criticism, commentary, and education, in compliance with fair use
I actually already linked the Discord friend request in my community post.
This video contains discussions and visuals related to sensitive topics that may be distressing for some viewers, including insert specific topics, if applicable. Viewer discretion is advised. Alright guys, so starting off, this is his old channel from May 2024, and here are his alt accounts, which is recently known as Jazz Style. And here is the alt account in action with a minor. Keep in mind this is Bushwalker aka Frank behind the Jazz Style account. In the next scene, he claims and admits that these are his bots. But do you think we're done here? There's a lot more. The term wasteman he uses to describe despicable people has been used consistently on his PDF file gaming account as well. Keep in mind, he calls people wasteman during confrontations with Camilla, not only that he does videos almost constantly with Camilla. On the Bushwhacker account, and we're going to spill over into the PDF file gaming account, and we have similar content of repeating the action. We can also tell...
Which, that's understandable according to him, because some of it were just like the same thing. Like, his content is like, DJ's content was literally the same as his, as the other accounts he's been in, like Jazz Style or PDF Gaming, for instance. So see that there, and if you compare it to the others. I will get to the other one if you got for more details, but for showing the sign that he was a pedo.
that Frank is behind the PDF file account due to the fact that he types in so many sentences in one comment, which is specifically similar to our Discord DM. What I mean is, in psychology, we match the same type on similar equations, which mean we become detectives and steady the past with people who refuse to identify, just like cops and social detectives, if people are trying to hide from actions and their identity, just like cancer, hiding from your immune system. Let me tell you something. Predators and pedophiles are pretty smart with their allegations. Oftentimes, pedophiles don't claim or identify themselves. In most circumstances, in situations with past introductions with actions, keep in mind, in psychology of belief of criminal orientation, predators also tried to get away in certain topics and never mentioned themselves in that situation. It doesn't matter how old you are. Some people are just mentally immature. They will not turn themselves in, and it's up to us to tell the information to the people, to be aware of certain degrees. With all of the proof being provided, he never claims it's him behind the account, which got us so pissed off, like how detectives got so pissed off at Isabella for not identifying her actions with social detectives, aka lying that she killed her mom. But why does it have to do with Bushwhacker? Because they're so intelligent in most certain categories, and with all of the proof, this is when most detectives fail, and that's what's going on with Frank. And it's not just Frank, but it's a common occurrence for a lot of criminals, and most people don't understand. To tell you the truth, guys, some of my family's a cop. He just inflicted himself a duction. It takes the knowledge of the experienced person, tries to represent the pathetic evil lies and disheartened criminals. If PDF File Gaming, aka Frank, continues this, he just inflicted himself a charge, which means if he does not admit his actions at this time, he'll be charged with false identification with a crime which is a serious criminal record, which can lead to imprisonment if discovered. So,
But I mean, my point exactly. I mean, if he does all of that, then that's, if discovered, then yeah, it can get him in trouble and possibly prison time. If it was ever discovered. And according to him, and here's more further details on that side of the story.
On September the 1st, 2024, I awoke to discover that this YouTube channel, Abyssal Hyan, exposed Bushwhacker for his predatory behavior. By the way, ask me for the link since I can't put it in the description right now. But apparently we discovered that Bushwhacker was flirting and having sexual entities with minors, letting y'all know that this guy is 36 years old on the internet, doing this literally on the internet, surrounded by minors. And since I had contact with that guy on a DM, I completely confronted him about it. His response is he doesn't care. He showed me a copyright takedown request and was acting immature and laughing about it.
In that case, that's the reason why some videos, whenever people made videos on him, he would literally take them down with a copyright strike for seemingly no damn reason. So literally, he's just mainly doing this just to silence people and try to get rid of some of the evidence of what he has done, which is why he used a ton of aliases, according to various people, such as Joshua and Alexis and many other people.
So this started getting suspicious to me, and my mind will not stop bothering me about Bushwhacker, knowing that he is a potential PDF. So the contactors, also known as Hyan Dark, Nightmare Kun, Kenzie, and Abyssal Hyan, these are the people that had experience with Bushwhacker, and now is announcing his disgusting acts they witnessed. We're going to be debunker it down.
Of course, when he was in the Jazz Style account, he even dated Alexis, despite Alexis was around 11 years old at the time. And he was 36 at the time. And then Spade, and then one of my friends, Spade, was also one of those he dated, and it turns out Spade was a minor, and she was around 14 years old as seen in this. So this is starting to get really bad. He even also revealed, even we have this, which some of them I'm surprised he didn't take down.
So
I guess he probably has the audacity.
outrageously disgusting and so recent that I nicknamed myself the pedophile killer. He used an alt account to become sexually disgusting between these 3 members on Discord, and blamed. I'm the one who made him that way? And then after his YouTube channel was deleted so he doesn't get caught for his disgusting act. With all...
So basically, this just proves that he is not a good person that I thought he is. But yeah, you guys know that point according to some people's side of the story. Hey, Kid Core. Give me a minute. Okay. Okay, that doesn't work. Anyways. But yeah. He's just... First off, he literally not only accused me, but also my friend of snitching him when... How, like, I don't know. How is that considered snitching? Despite that, he literally calls him out for supporting Camilla. I don't know what to do on him anymore. I really can't. Basically, he's like Salem. He's literally wasting my time. But yeah. Like, dude, seriously, dude, you are literally wasting mine and others' time. Oops. Also, one thing to say, since I am victim, well, I'll told you what happened to me. Ever since I was scared for people as pedo, I was scared on Discord, and I'm surrounded for pedo. Dang. No wonder why. Also, I'm just including some of you as moderators, is all I'm doing. Is all, mainly. Sorry about this again. I'm still having problems with it. I'm not a pedo myself too. I never did. I would never do something like this. But yeah. Honestly, this is just honestly ridiculous. This is one of the reasons why I almost one time when Frank attacked me at the time, he almost made me almost end myself because of him. And because of him making like waste up very false accusations at me. Anyways, ugh. Yes, I am a victim. I'm so scared for everyone. Yeah, I'm a victim myself too because of him. Anyways, I'll do some reacting to videos because I don't have anything else to say with all of this, but and keep in mind if you don't want to see all things that I'm reacting to, then don't watch. Don't watch. Then X out of the stream if you don't want to. It's not because I'm just doing it for if you guys don't want to handle some of that. So let's get right into it.
Download apps, not traps.
New unicorn dream slush. Wish, sip,
Freaking
believe.
ad.
Have you ever ordered food and been disappointed? It wasn't exactly what you expected? Well, trust me, it could have been worse. If you like to eat out at restaurants or fast food joints, you may have experienced a situation.
Yes, I was no longer pedo as anyone. I'm not either myself, Ender. I'm not either.
Or two where what you ordered wasn't exactly what was delivered.
Sorry,
oh man,
loud,
that sucks.
loud.
But at least you didn't almost eat bullets, a razor blade, or a mouse.
Ouch.
Today I've gathered the absolute craziest cases of people who have reported finding little bonuses in their order. And if you forgot the value of a home-cooked meal, you'll remember after this. So let's get right into it. Here are 10 disgusting things found in fast food. Number 1 is a tongue-eating parasite in tuna.
Ew.
Oh, look at that cute little guy. It looks like a baby Pokemon. It's a flesh-eating parasite.
What in the world is a
In
flesh-eating,
mid-January of 2015,
tongue-eating
28-year-old
parasite?
Zoe Louise Butler of Nottingham, England, purchased a can of Princess brand tuna chunks at her local grocery store. Upon prying open the lid, she noticed a pair of little black eyes looking back at her. Snapping a photo of it, she shared it on Twitter, asking for opinions as to what the tiny little creature might be. After much speculation over Eric, which was the name she gave the translucent little creature, and using the hashtag Tunagate, the Natural History Museum suggested that it's probably the head of a Cymotha exigua, also known as a tongue-eating louse. In case you didn't know, the tongue-eating louse is a parasite that lives and feeds on the tongues of certain fish by entering through their gills. After a long Twitter war of speculation ranging from a tadpole to a turtle, Eric's species was identified through a series of lab tests on February 6, 2015. Unbelievably, Butler did not seek any compensation from the tuna company for the incident, but I'm guessing she's probably going to avoid tuna for a while. Number 2 is finger in a sandwich.
Ugh.
Okay, class, rule number 1
That
for
would've been
working at a fast food joint. If you
Honestly, if I was in that situation and I noticed a freaking finger in my food, I would have been terrified. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, because imagine you notice a body part in your food. That, ew. I know you guys would have freaked out too.
cut off your finger, just walk out and don't tell anybody. Nothing's gonna happen. In May of 2012, Ryan Hart, a 14-year-old boy from Jackson, Michigan, bit into an Arby's Junior Roast Beef sandwich when he encountered something that was a little tough to chew on. What is this, parsley? Oh god! Claiming that it tasted disgusting and seemed rubbery in texture, the teen spit it out to discover that he had bit on someone else's chopped off finger and it was in his mouth. An investigation into the incident led health officials to conclude that a worker had actually severed her finger while operating a meat slicer and, for some reason, left the area without telling anybody about it. Soon after, another worker, realizing that the order still had to be completed, went to her station and continued preparing the meal. The injured worker was treated in hospital and the Arby's closed for cleaning, before any other unmentioned body parts just pop up. Is it roast beef or an eyeball? Nobody knows!
Ew.
Number 3 is a condom in clam chowder.
Ew.
When you're eating clam chowder, it's best to use protection. During the night of February...
Ew! A freaking pee-pee balloon in someone's chowder. Ew. Ugh. I probably hope it's not used.
26, 2002 in Irvine, California, 48-year-old Layla Sultan was dining with 3 of her friends at a McCormick and Schmick's seafood restaurant. She was enjoying a nice bowl of clam chowder that she had ordered until she bit into something rubbery. She complained to her friends, but they just teased her, saying, "Oh, it's probably just clam." But unable to chew it, she decided to spit it out, only to discover that she was actually trying to consume an unpackaged and seemingly used condom.
Ew! I knew that. I was like, please don't tell me it's used, because if it's used, ew. Honestly, same situation. If I notice a used PP balloon in my own food, even if it's possibly used, I would have been so freaked out.
I'll give you a minute to marinate on that one. The seafood restaurant chain initially claimed that this was an obvious hoax, but soon after,
How
she
is that a
sued them
hoax,
for
despite-
psychological damages.
How is that a freaking hoax, despite that she literally had that in her own clam chowder?
And actually won an undisclosed amount in the settlement. Sadly, the man
That doesn't
who
make no
obviously loved his
sense.
soup a little bit too much was never found. I can see the headline now: "Soup molester on the loose." Number 4 is a mouse in a loaf of bread.
I would have been freaked out if I
Nothing like a
seen.
dead mouse in bread. Oh boy! In January of 2009, while making
I would have been freaked out if I ever saw a mouse in someone's food either.
a lunch of cheese sandwiches for his twin sons and daughter, 41-year-old Stephen Force of Kidlington, England, noticed something strange on the side of the
Celebrate Zaxby's
Again,
birthday
always with the ads.
handcrafted milkshakes. Who's got the sauce?
Ugh. Get out. Get out.
on the side of the bread that he was using. What is that, mold? Kids, lunch is canceled. The loaf of bread that Force had purchased through an online grocer included an entire dead mouse that was embedded in
Ugh.
it. Disgusted over the fact that he had already used slices from that particular loaf earlier to feed his kids,
Ew,
Force
that's
notified the
even
government
more
of his gross
horrible.
find, and environmental health officers collected the samples from his home. But if you thought that was disturbing, the tail of the rodent was missing and made Force even more grossed out because he realized that his family had already previously consumed it. After an investigation, it was
Ugh.
determined that the lone mouse had made its way into the baking facilities and got compacted into the side of the bread crust. After admitting
That's
negligence and
disgusting.
following proper food safety regulations, Premier Foods was forced to pay an equivalent of $21,000 US. That's not even a lot of money. $21,000? The guy and his family ate a rat tail. That man is never
Ew.
going to again be able to go close to Disneyland. I'll pay some ease in your belly. Number 5 are razor blades in burgers.
Now that's very dangerous.
In 2007,
It's more
Cracker
disturbing
Barrel
than
mysteriously pulled all
disgusting.
hamburgers from hundreds of restaurants very suddenly. Patrons were confused when they showed up unable to order a burger, which was a popular menu item. Well, as it turns out, a woman in South Carolina reported ordering a burger as she had always done, except this time it had a razor blade embedded in it. Yeah,
Ugh.
this burger tastes like a lot of blood. After biting
Ugh.
into the burger, she actually cut the inside of her mouth with a piece of metal that was embedded in the patty. 313
Good grief.
restaurants out of a total of 557 were all told to remove the burgers from their restaurants for fears that there may be more situations like this. Strangely, the burgers are delivered to them pre-made and frozen from their biggest supplier, Cargill Meats, who investigated the issue. That's not even the disturbing part. What disturbs me is that they only shut down 313 restaurants out of 557. They're like, okay, guys, we're gonna roll the dice on this one. These ones probably don't have razor blades. These ones do. Okay, let's sell some burgers. Number 6 is bandage in a pizza.
Ew.
After ordering
Is
a
it a
large
used
pizza at
one in
Supreme
it?
Pizza on June 8th, 2011, 52-year-old Clifton Park, New Jersey resident Ken Wazurska ate a portion of it and then put the rest in the fridge as leftovers. So the next day, he decided, I want some tasty pizza. So he took it out, took a bite of one of the cold pizzas, only to discover something, a little too chewy in the dough. Turning over that piece, he found a blue adhesive bandage. Not only that, but the
Ew.
bandage came complete with someone else's dried blood in the cotton and had actually been
Ew.
baked into the bottom of the crust of the pizza. But
Honestly, something like that, yeah. Anything to do with in it that has like blood and all of that in it, you need to end up needing to get to a doctor's office to make sure you don't get any diseases from that. So if you ever had that, make sure you head to a doctor.
Possibly the strangest twist, once being a distribution manager himself, he actually felt sympathetic for the company, so he tried keeping quiet, complaining directly to Pizza Hut, but that didn't work. After being completely ignored by the company, he preserved the evidence in a sealed bag in the freezer and continued to complain. But after an entire month of being ignored, he decided to finally go public with his experience. This time, Pizza Hut took notice, but instead of reaching out to him, they publicly refuted his claims.
Our employees only use red bandages. This man is a fraud.
Number 7 are nails in mac and cheese.
Yeah.
I bet you didn't know that a simple bowl of mac and cheese
I mean,
could
I like
quickly
mac and
become a
cheese,
yummy
but
nightmare.
imagine
On
if
August
you have
24th,
nails in
2008,
it.
While halfway through eating a Tesco Value macaroni and cheese ready meal, 21-year-old bride-to-be Rebecca Shorten came across a troubling sight. There, among the orange cheesy noodles, were 2 nails. Just a little smidgen upset, she immediately stopped eating the meal, snapped a bunch of photos of her find, and set it aside. However, soon after, she became very ill and had to go to the emergency room to be checked out. I think you can guess where this is going. Doctors quickly discovered that there had been a 3rd nail in the dinner, and yes, she had accidentally eaten it. The doctors actually recommended that it would pass on its own, but that night she went home and experienced even worse pains. She was rushed back to the hospital, where she remained under observation and on morphine until the nail, passed. Oh, but Matt, did she get a big payday? No. For all of her trouble, Tesco only offered Shorten a
Sorry about that, but yeah, God, God, no wonder how painful it is. I cannot imagine how painful that would be, especially with you passing all of this with nails. That is just literally so painful.
Fund on the meal, which amounted to less than $1. They did, however, recall all similar frozen meals. Man, I guess it takes 4 nails or more to get a payout these days. It's tough times. Number 8 is a tampon in steak.
Ew!
On July 10th, 2009, a man named Axel Sands
Probably
Claus
yet
was
again a
fine
used
dining at
one.
the Bull and Bear restaurant, which is located inside New York's famous Waldorf Astoria Hotel. A tourist from Germany, Sands Claus was chewing away at the expensive steak and spinach that he ordered when he suddenly found himself unable to break down whatever was in his mouth. Spitting it out, he was horrified to learn that he had been chewing on a used tampon.
Ew!
Oh my gross! After trying
What the hell?
Google Playcam. Download apps, not
Ew! First off, I used
At Domino's, now you can
pee
carry out a
balloon and
one-topping
a
pizza
used
of any of our 5 crust types,
tampon
and you can order
in
any way
your
you want
food?
to, online or by...
After
Ew!
trying to sterilize his mouth by gargling brandy and running to the bathroom, Sands Claus had restaurant staff call him an ambulance, fearing that he had been exposed to an illness. At the hospital, doctors did confirm that the item was what he thought it was, and he was tested for hepatitis. As if that wasn't
Ew.
enough, he was then instructed to wait 2 weeks and then get an AIDS test. Meanwhile, the Waldorf Astoria launched an investigation into the Bull and
How
Bear
did
restaurant,
that came out
but
of
found
nowhere?
no evidence that the tampon came from their kitchen and called the matter highly suspicious. Highly suspicious? I call it highly disturbing. Oh, I'm gonna yak. Number 9 is a knife in a sub.
That one is
In
gonna
June
be
of 2008,
dangerous.
27-year-old John Agassini was just a few bites into his foot-long cold-cut sandwich at a Subway restaurant in New York City when he spotted the melted plastic of a handle and the shine of a blade. One more
Oof.
bite and his teeth would have found an 18-centimeter-long serrated knife that had been carelessly left in the sub. When
Oh
Subway
my
investigated,
God.
they found out that the employee had accidentally dropped the blade into the dough that he soon after baked into foot-long loaves of bread. So many choices. Do I want cheese, garlic, or bloody mouth? The
Ew.
contaminants in his first few bites from the plastic handle caused him to contract food poisoning, and he sued Subway for $1 million. But the 2 parties eventually settled out of court for $20,000. But unfortunately for the fast food giant, Agassini wasn't the only person to find such a thing in their sub. In December of 2008, Martin Venner of Cornwall, England, was about to dig into his sweet chili chicken foot-long sub when he discovered another, even longer knife had been baked right into the bread as well. Sadly,
Holy
he was
cow.
less fortunate than Agassini and was only offered a replacement sandwich and 50 pounds. 50 pounds, yeah, 50 pounds of bullshit. And number 10 is bullets in a hot dog. On May 6, 2004, a hungry 34-year-old woman named Olivia Chains went to a snack bar in a Costco in Irvine, California. Relaxing from a long ordeal of shopping, she ordered a delicious-looking hot dog, but what she received wasn't as edible as she had expected. In fact, and pardon the pun for this, but what she got really blew her away. Only a few bites in, she bit down into something super hard. Spitting it out, she found a 9mm handgun bullet on her plate. But the trauma did not end there, because soon afterwards, she began feeling agonizing abdominal pains. At that point, she was rushed to the hospital, where she was given x-rays, which revealed that she had actually swallowed a bullet before finding the second one in her hot dog. Eventually, she passed the live ammunition naturally, and Costco performed an investigation into their meats and packaging departments. Yo, I gotta load this gun, but I gotta finish my meat packing shift.
Damn, yet again. That one is more like painful than just disgusting, honestly. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, let's go. Let's get on to some other things that are not so nasty. But I will get into the canceled and Disney Pixar Iceberg Explained. Some of them never released to canceled or lost media. Which some of you may not know it existed or possibly existed. Let's get right into it.
We are doing the canceled Disney and Pixar movie Iceberg. And if you're not familiar with the Iceberg format, let me tell you a little bit about it. This is when you take some subject and you go deep down a rabbit hole of like stories and rumors and things that people may not know about. Above the surface of water are things that a lot of people know about. But the deeper you go, the less common the subjects are. We are starting off at the top of the iceberg with Newt. So, Newt actually gets announced at an April 2008 New York press conference for Disney. What happens when the last remaining male and female blue-footed newts on the planet are forced together by science to save the species and they can't stand each other? So this gets announced in April of 2008, and we actually have quite a bit of footage here. So you do have music from the movie playing right now. So lots of concept stuff is out for Newt. Felt like it got a lot of development time. A lot of it has been released. Unfortunately, at the same press conference 2 years later, nothing was shared about Newt. So there's no updates given. It had been added to the Disney A to Z encyclopedia, and then it got removed. In a 2014 interview, Edwin Catmull shared that it just wasn't working in the pre-production phase. It got passed on to Pete Docter. You may know that name. Pete Docter worked on Monsters, Inc. and Up, and instead, Pete Docter pitched an idea to Pixar that they liked more, which ended up being Inside Out. One of the
And before I go on to that, also the reason I think it was not being made, from what I've heard, is because it has some similar, pretty much I would say because of, it may have some similar premises to Rio. Which Rio has some similar premise to Newt. So maybe that could be the reason on why it was canceled and why it never worked. I mean, besides, I think Disney doesn't own Fox at the time.
alleged reasons that this story doesn't work is that around the same time, a movie by the name of Rio came out. And if you are familiar with the movie Rio, yeah, it sort of sounds like exactly the same story. That might also be a reason why this movie didn't work. All right, so moving on from Newt, we get to Gigantic, another one that a lot of people know about because actually it was announced at D23. This made it to the...
This one I found to be pretty interesting from what I've heard about this one. This was meant to be, it's meant to be a reimagining of the fairy tale Jack and the Beanstalk. And this one, though, I've heard from the possible reasons why this was canceled, and leading to its release date to Raya and the Last Dragon. This was simply because it got canceled due to creative differences and certain other part of issues.
2015 D23 stage. This was supposed to be set in Spain during the Age of Exploration, and it was going to be Disney's take on the Jack and the Beanstalk story. Jack was going to discover that there was a world of giants hidden above the clouds, and he was going to befriend a giant by the name of Enma, who was said to be 11 years old and 60 feet tall. And Enma was supposed to constantly treat Jack like a doll. The world building that they laid out at D23 was that in the world of the film, humans and the giants had come to an agreement that the giants would keep danger away for the humans, and the humans would work for them and give them food and give them livestock. But then the humans were getting fed up with this. They didn't want to keep giving their stuff away to the giants. Eventually, that leads to the confrontation, and Jack befriends one of the giants, and that changes the dynamic. They must have felt pretty confident about it because it actually got teased in Zootopia. But unfortunately, at D23
Which I didn't know.
2017, there was no updates on Gigantic. It wasn't mentioned at all. And then shortly after that, Disney announced that it had been canceled. The only sort of speculations are that either they were having a hard time making the movie long enough, or that there were creative differences. Next week.
To me, it's such a shame that it was canceled, because to me, I found it to be pretty interesting. Next up is another one that, if any of you Toy Story fans haven't new on, then
we have the Toy Story Black Friday reel. This reel, which I am going to show you, allegedly came about because Katzenberg had a desire for Toy Story to have more, quote, edge. There was a reel that got shared in November of 1993.
I'd just like to wish you luck.
But anyways, in this one, I'm gonna explain that to you. May can explain that to you before I play this. But basically, not only it was originally to be edgy, but it was originally it was meant to have Woody be more of the bad guy than just the kid named Sid being the bad guy. But basically what happened is that in this one Woody, like I said, is played as is the bad guy. Originally was the bad guy. He was not only selfish, he was portrayed as kind of selfish, and not just that, but also as pretty, mean and all of that. But anyways, Buzz, when Buzz came and spoke with him, from what I seen myself, he literally just threw Buzz out of the window. And then, of course, as you know, Woody was like, "What? I can't grab him," and all of that. All while the other toys were clamoring and looked down on the window from where Buzz fell. While Woody is just laying down on the bed, not doing nothing. But anyways, after that, they one of the toys even told him to help him back up, all while he looks like he's just mocking them or all of that, or at least mocking one of them. And of course, all of a sudden, when Slinky the dog came in, Woody was just being seriously mean, and if not, he's like, I feel so bad for Slinky in this one. Like, he is just being mean, demandative, and even threatening Slinky in this one. Like, that poor Slinky dog. Like, that poor dog. And then after he just literally threatens the dog, this Slinky, that's where one of the toys stood up for this dog, which I don't blame them in that situation. If I was in that situation. And then all of a sudden, they did the same thing to Woody in the end. All while Woody is just being all innocent and all of that, pretending to be nice in that. But yeah, if any of you Toy Story fans are newing on this, then I'm glad. I know some of you didn't know either. But, I mean, I didn't know that existed either. But anyways, excuse me for a minute. But anyways, yeah. Because of that, from what I've heard, this result in this movie being nearly canceled, and because of the negative feedback it had. And even the voice actor of Woody, Tom Hanks, even doesn't like Woody being portrayed this way. So, that's where they decided to rework it, and that's where we gotten the version of Toy Story that we know today. At least from what I've heard. So, I'll just skip that, but but to me, the messed up part, what made it to me just so, to me, at least in my opinion with this one, that's way too far about this, is, like I said earlier, just poor Slinky getting threatened by Woody in this one. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, I don't blame Tom Hanks in that one, where he doesn't like Woody being betrayed this way.
You know what's smart? Truffle butter filet mignon without lifting a finger.
I have to clearly skip it because of copyright, so...
Off the bed! Off the bed! You gonna make us, Woody? No. I said take... Who said my sketch? You and what?
And this led to Toy Story nearly being...
But yeah, that is just very rough. But thank gosh we gotten the lighthearted Toy Story that we know today. And not something like this.
Everyone in the room hated that. I can't imagine why. Tom Hanks also made it clear that he really hated portraying Woody this way, and this led to Toy Story nearly being completely shut down. They were going to kill the whole project based on this reel being shared, but the team working on it requested 2 weeks to make the movie they actually wanted to make, not this, quote, edgier version, and in the 2 weeks they fixed Toy Story, and we got the movie that we ended up getting. Next up, we have Kingdom of the Sun. If you're
now, Kingdom of the Sun which fun fact for you guys, was it turns out before we have the Empire's New Groove, or Emperor's New Groove, which however I would freaking pronounce it, basically, this was, if some of you don't know, it is basically the original version of the Empire's New Groove. And of course, because of certain issues, this left it being cancelled, and that's where some of it would end up being reworked into the Emperor's New Groove. Even though both that and Kingdom of the Sun shared many similarities, but they're just completely separate ones, however.
Not familiar with Kingdom of the Sun, and sometimes Kingdom in the Sun, depending on what part of the project this is. This was originally scheduled for a summer of 2000 release date, and this project would go on to be retooled to be Emperor's New Groove. It has a lot in common with Emperor's New Groove, like a lot of the characters. However, at the time, it was actually a Prince and the Pauper story, where Emperor, definitely not Kuzco, Manco, swapped place with a llama herder by the name of Pacha. It's a familiar name because they looked the same. They had uncanny resemblance. Manco wanted a, easier life. He was tired of being an emperor. Pacha thought being an emperor would be cool. It's just the Prince and the Pauper. Then when Pacha went back to being the emperor, Nina, who was Manco's fiance, actually fell in love with Pacha, not knowing it wasn't Manco. And then Yzma, pictured here, found out about the switch and worked with a dark god named Supe to turn Pacha into a llama. See, things are similar, but not exactly the same. She turned Pacha into a llama, but the llama couldn't speak. And then she covered the empire in darkness, and she took over the throne. Also, by the way, Yzma had sidekicks. They were 3 mummies. They were named Mick, Bowie, and Lemmy, rock fans out there, and there was no Kronk, imagine. There is, however, a grumpy anthropomorphic talisman named Waka, I guess. Ultimately, Pachamanco and Nina fight off the dark god and Yzma, and they save the empire. But if you want to know more, it's all out there. We've made it to layer 2, everybody. So I'm going to start with Circle 7 animation. In January of 2004, Steve Jobs actually announced that Disney had decided to not re-up their contract with Pixar. So at the time, Disney doesn't own Pixar because Eisner thought that Disney could just produce sequels to Pixar movies that were as good as, if not better, than what Pixar could do. And so they killed the contract, and Eisner spins up a brand new studio called Circle 7 Animation, and their purpose was to produce sequels to movies that Pixar had made. The end of this story, I'm going to jump ahead, is ultimately that Eisner gets pushed out, and when Iger takes over, he buys Pixar, and then they close Circle 7. The good news is that about 80% of the Circle 7 employees went on to work at Feature Animation. Again, I want to clarify the timeline here. In January of 2004, they announced they're not going to re-up the Pixar contract. In May of 2006, they buy Pixar. So this whole thing got spun up, and these projects got spun up and started, and everything happens in 2 years' time. So that's the context you need, because the next 3 projects I'm going to talk about are all Circle 7 projects, starting with Toy Story 3. You may know Toy Story 3. Perhaps you're like, Max, that's not a canceled movie. That movie happened. No. This is the Circle 7 version of Toy Story 3. Buzz starts to malfunction, and so Andy's mom sends him to a factory in Taipei where he was made so that he could get repaired. But while he's in transit, or when he gets there, a worldwide recall of Buzz Lightyear figures goes into effect, and so he's no longer gonna get repaired. He's just gonna get replaced. They're gonna send a new Buzz Lightyear back, and so the toys all ship themselves to Taipei to save Buzz Lightyear. I was reading this, and I need you to know.
I was like, yeah, after hearing about this, I was like, oh, okay. The Toy Story 3 that we gotten, I think it's a completely different story from what I've seen. Or at least something a little bit similar. But their circles, the Circle 7's version, I can tell it's completely different compared to the Toy Story 3 that we gotten today.
There was a piece that stuck out to me. Perhaps you'll figure out why. Meanwhile, The mother pushing the stroller takes her son to a daycare center on the top floor of the Taipei 101, the tallest building in the world at the time. There, Woody and the gang are discovered by other children and are played with in wild and rough ways. Bullseye is made to look like a My Little Pony doll.
What the
Mr. Potato Head
fuck?
is stripped of his body parts. Rex and Ham are diapered and treated like babies. Now, I don't know if you've seen Toy Story 3, but boy, does it sound kind of familiar. So, ultimately, Pixar gets bought, and this version of Toy Story 3 doesn't happen, but there are some story beats that feel pretty similar. I just want to call out that, if you look at the concept art of this stuff, it
Probably
looks
been
just a little
reposed or
wrong
something.
because it's not done by Pixar. In the top left, that's them making an escape from the daycare center, and then the bottom right, obviously, Potato Head and Ham have been dressed up. But, it looks, yeah, kind of. It kind of looks like them. Our second Circle 3 studio is Monsters, Inc. 2 Lost in Scaradise. Now, you may say again, Max, we've seen a second Monsters, Inc. movie, although it was a prequel. This was a sequel film. The story of this one is that 1 year, specifically, 1 year after the first film, Mike and Sully decide to visit Boo. They're missing Boo. There's things going on in their world. I believe I read that Mike was actually getting ready for his wedding to Celia, and so they decide they need a trip, and they go to take Boo a birthday present. But as they enter Boo's door, they spot an old woman sleeping in her bed. Originally, when I read about this, what I read was time works different in the monster realm. But that's not true. The intention was not that this was Boo. It was that Boo had moved away. So they find out that Boo moved, and then they have to, they go on a quest in the human world to find Boo. And then I have one more, which is Finding Nemo 2. This is the last of the Circle 7 pieces. Now, I don't...
Although in some Toy Stories 3, it's completely different. We have eventually Monsters University, which is actually a prequel, and then Finding Dory.
Don't have any concept art for this one, unfortunately. Finding Nemo 2 would have focused on Nemo reuniting with his long-lost twin brother, Remy. Marlin then gets captured and sent to the aquarium Planet Blue. So Nemo, Dory, and Remy have to go rescue him. Now hold on just a minute. Nemo's long-lost twin brother, a rat. Allegedly, all three of these full scripts are on the internet. So, if you're interested, have fun. All right, let's move on from Circle 7. Next up, Chicken Little 2. This was meant to be a sequel to 2005's Chicken Little. There is a story artist, Todd Carter, who worked on this sequel and who's done a couple interviews. He described the plot as...
Every time, I always forgot on Chicken Little. I mean, I've seen Chicken Little one time, but I think when I was little or something, and that one, I'm not much on it. I also didn't know they were supposed to do a sequel on that, but it got canceled for some reason.
Chicken Little finds himself in a love triangle between Abby Ugly Duckling Mallard and an attractive newcomer named Raphael, the French sheep. Carter said that the production and screenings were going pretty well, but that he believes it was canceled because the executives weren't confident that it would perform very well. I know what you've always been looking forward to was the love triangle story of a chicken, a duck, and a sheep, but unfortunately
I guess
on this
it's because
day,
it's strange.
Next up, we have Dumbo 2. Now
this one is pretty interesting. I mean, if any of you seen Dumbo and you have one of the editions of the DVD, then there was a trailer that was meant to tease a sequel for it. However, for some reason, it sadly got canceled for some reasons. However, like I said, it's unclear on why it was canceled.
This is actually pretty interesting because this was scheduled to be released in 2001. A cool 60 years after the original Dumbo. And once again, they were so confident that this movie was going to happen A trailer for it was actually on the 2001 VHS and DVD release of Dumbo. If you bought the 60th anniversary edition of Dumbo, this trailer's on it.
We're basically continuing our story as if like a day or so after the original.
The kids accidentally get themselves disconnected from the rest of the circus, and they end up in the big city.
They want to have this
some of it
freedom,
is just
but
very
they also have to try to
nostalgic
figure
to
out
me.
how they're going to get back home.
The storyline and everything where we're going, it will be all new, but I think it'll have the same flavor and feeling of the old version.
The story's about friendship and parental love, and that there truly is no place like home.
Coming soon from Walt Disney Pictures, Dumbo 2. Premiering on Disney DVD and video.
Ultimately, this...
But yeah, this one though, unfortunately, it didn't happen, and it left it being completely canceled for unknown reasons. I guess it could be due to, I'm not sure, but my guess it could be because of the story issues or something like that.
It got delayed for years and years and years, and then it was just canceled. Oh, and chat, now it's my favorite.
Now this one is yet another that to me I found to be so interesting. They were supposed to do a Roger Rabbit sequel following the success with, I think following the success of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which to me, I like Jessica Rabbit. To me, I think Jessica Rabbit, I would love to see more of her in like some foreseeable future if they were doing a sequel. Supposedly they do, but however, it was canceled. But then it was reworked into Who Discovered Roger Rabbit, but due to the original involving Nazis, and then Steven Spielberg doesn't want to do that due to its portrayal of them, and yeah, I do agree to him that it was in pretty poor taste. So, yeah, that's where they reworked it into Who Discovered Roger Rabbit, and of course, after all of that, this suddenly got canceled. And there were possible talks that they may bring it back, but however, no certain updates, and likely canceled once again, or it could be, pretty much it could be very unlikely that a sequel for Who Framed Roger Rabbit might not happen. So, yeah, which is a real shame.
There are moments in reading about these where you discover things that make you just so giddy. Not because of the idea, but because I get to share it with you. And Roger Rabbit 2 is one of them. Roger Rabbit was a planned prequel to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It was supposed to focus on sort of where Roger came from and getting to Hollywood. But the script takes place from 1941 to 1943, and Steven Spielberg refused to sign on to the film due to its cartoonish depiction of Nazis. Just drink that in for a second. This film is set during World War II. Roger Rabbit, we find him living with a human family, the Randalls, and he learns that they are not his real family. What? He wasn't a cartoon rabbit born of humans? But he decides to go out into the world to find his birth mother. And along the way, he runs into a new friend, Richie, who's heading out to Hollywood. He wants to make it big as an actor, and they go to Hollywood together. And once in Hollywood, Richie and Roger meet two women. One is a human named Wendy Rowan, and a toon named Jessica Krupnik. Okay, and they work as radio performers. And that is an important detail. Now I'm going to skip ahead. To make matters worse, Jessica and Wendy learn that their boss at the radio station, Otto Green, is in fact in league with the Nazis, who kidnaps them and takes them to Germany, where he enslaves Jessica as a propagandist, using Wendy as a bargaining chip.
So, what do you think?
I'm gonna
The
skip that.
American government then decides that the way they're going to win the war is that they're going to take cartoons and they're going to put them on the battlefield because cartoons are not able to be harmed. And so they're going to have an indestructible army made of cartoons. And they're going to take Roger Rabbit and enlist him in the battle to fight the Nazis. But hilarity ensues, chat, when they realize that the cartoons are more interested in gags and entertainment on the battlefield, and they're not really that good for fighting. That got killed. But I will tell you...
Which, that one is kind of a weird premise. I mean, that is kind of a weird premise for a sequel to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Although...
that in the late 90s, this prequel idea was again resurfaced, this time with way less Nazis. This time it was renamed Who Discovered Roger Rabbit, and it was focused on how Roger got work in Broadway and in Hollywood. It would have still done a mixture of live-action animation, but this time with CGI animation, and a leak of the pitch actually came out.
Which to me I thought it was pretty interesting.
So what do you think, big fella? I mean, it looks great. You gotta give him credit on that one. Scripts?
I think it looks great. I think from that pitch test, I thought it looks great too. So, yeah. I mean, especially how they changed the animation using CGI and all of that, rather than regular animation like the Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
For both of these versions are online. Alright, we're on to layer...
I'll end this there, so I'll do a part 2 on this in a future live stream, so I'm just gonna end this there. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this, and thanks for being part of the live stream, and I'll see you guys later.